Hi there, my name is Kendrick, and today I get to interview Ella. So Ella, welcome.
Hello. So I'm an ISTJ jumper, and my full type is like double feminine, and then Si-Fi sleep less, consume and then play.
All right, and then what did you think and how did you feel when you got your typing results back?
Um, I was very surprised because like the first when I first dived into this whole OPS thing, I was convinced that I'm a decider, like from the start. And because I was always very aware that um, I have a lot of trouble with dealing with people, that makes me nervous, that I'm uncomfortable with that, and that I tend to avoid it. And I used to have a lot of struggles with that. So I was like, I definitely have to be a decider and all that, which I think now is because definitely play last. That I really avoid dealing with others, and that makes me really introverted. And yeah, so I at first I thought I was an IP actually, and which it's kind of funny because I think at the start I was actually kind of close to my actual type because I um already knew how introvert I really am. I thought I was in some way some introverted jumper, and then I saw all these videos from Shane and Dave about them talking about how people usually get their type upside down. So I figured I must be super extrovert actually, and an EJ and all that. And then I got it completely wrong. And so I ended up thinking I was an EJ before I was typing. It's super stupid.
That's
Yeah.
funny. What kind of EJ did you think you were?
I thought that I was in TE Dom, like TE. I thought ENTJ or something, and so I kind of saw that I was on this TEFI coin, and I also knew, or I was able to see that my TE is feminine and FI is masculine. So that I got that one right, but not the order.
So your type is kind of interesting because yes, you are an introvert, but you have an extroverted second animal's extroverted, uh,
Yeah.
is blast, and it's also your first two functions. Um, I want to ask you about that first. So your second animal that is a savior is double feminine ST blast.
Yeah.
How do you personally experience that double feminine ST blast?
I'm honestly still trying to figure out what that actually means. Like, what's kind of the difference if blast is double masculine or double feminine? I can't really tell, honestly. Do
Um,
you have?
yeah, so let's see. Well, your blast is SI and TE, so
Yeah,
it's taking like things that are physical and organizing physical things. It
yeah,
could also be like logistics, like setting up schedules or telling people how things work. Like let's say
yeah.
you go to work and you're trying to tell someone like the recipe to like a food. So if you have
Mm,
like a friend or family member, let's say, and you're trying to teach them how to cook something, you would tell them, okay, this is what you put. Step one, because it's SI, right? So step one, step two,
yeah,
step four,
yeah,
and then because it's double feminine, it's super friendly. You're not like you don't come across as aggressive. You don't come across as pushy or bossy. It's very friendly. It's like, oh, can you put a little bit of that and a little bit of that? Like super nice. So like, I don't know if you can relate to
yeah.
that when you do it, but
Ooh, that's interesting because my close friends and my family used to tell me that I can be very mean, actually, and that I can be very, very pushy. And I used to get into arguments very quickly when I was younger.
yeah,
So I'm not sure, actually. I think that might be because of that masculine FI, maybe because
yeah,
it's a savior that I can get very pushy,
yeah.
if it goes against my values or anything. But it is very true that I can go very step by step if I explain something. And I really enjoy that actually. So I definitely see that I have Bless as a savior. But I don't know if I'm actually nice, I guess. I don't
Well,
know.
if you're at work, would you be nicer than like with family members
Oh,
or like
yeah,
friends?
absolutely. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's absolutely true. If there are people around that I'm not that familiar with, I will never be mean. I feel like I wouldn't have, I don't know, no, I wouldn't do that. Too scared.
I think you're more aggressive with people you know because they're inside your FI, so you know them, so
Yeah,
you can show them your FI. Because
yeah, that might
because
be.
yeah, because like I'm the
Yeah.
same as you. I'm also masculine FI, feminine TE.
Oh,
So when like strangers and at work and stuff, I'm also like really friendly and stuff. But like people
yeah.
who know me, they would say I'm like a really aggressive or an
Oh God.
like I could be an asshole. So yeah,
Yeah.
it depends. It really depends if they're inside the FI or not. Um so I want to talk to you about your double activated animal. You have SF sleep, double activated.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Can you tell me how you personally experienced that double activated SF sleep? That's your first animal.
I think um it is true that I really have, also because of Playlist, a really deep inner world kind of, and I really like to be in my space and to process things. For example, if I see anything new in the physical world, anything, I really need to process what that means to me and if I like it or not and all that. And I used to think that that's pretty normal, but because of OPS and all that, I noticed that I don't think that it's really not that common that people do that. And yeah, I think I really, for I don't know if that's part of it, but I am with my best friend. We are working on a project. It's we are trying to write a story, and everything that in that's about that is, I don't know. I think it's in this sleep world, kind of, because that's kind of my way of exploring it. And it's a lot, and I really like exploring that.
Well, like that lady, the Harry Potter lady, J.K. Rowling, she's like an INFP, right? So also like play
Yeah.
lots. So, I guess
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So I think like people that have that kind of like play last, double activate sleep, probably
Yeah.
very good at writing stories because of like the deep inner world and it's
Yeah.
feelings too, right? So it's like a lot of emotional stuff. Um,
Absolutely.
so let's go over the parts of the SF sleep and maybe you can share with me how you personally experience it, okay?
Yeah.
So the first part of it is Dave and Shan, the way they describe it is having routines to make sure that you feel good, like you're healthy, So like having like sleeping at the same time every day, exercise, um, eating healthy food, like preparing meals and stuff. Like everything has like a routine, and then you follow it, and then you follow it so that you can feel good. Like seeing
Yeah.
dentists, seeing like doctor, um, massage, whatever. So do you see yourself doing all that stuff? Like you have like a routine for all that stuff?
Yeah, I do. Absolutely. I just noticed that. Yeah, it's I think I kind of discovered these things when I moved out to really take care of myself and to take care of my feelings and that I feel good and all that. And I really do I it's really important to me. It really is. I really watch out for eating healthy, exercising, and I just recently I made all these appointments at the dentist and
Yeah.
all that, so it's actually very weird. So yeah, absolutely, that's true,
I,
100%.
yeah, I think I watched a video with Dave or something, and he said that he hasn't seen a dentist in like years or whatever. So I think
Oh God,
people with like SIFI, I think you're more regimented, like making sure that you do, take care
yeah,
of your health. Um,
yeah,
yeah.
totally.
Um, so I want to go cover the next part of SF sleep. So the next part is setting boundaries with the tribe. You're double activate sleep, so I guess the tribe doesn't see you often, or you're very picky on when you spend time with the tribe. Like, how do you personally experience that?
Yes, yeah, I am very picky. I mean, I really try to get out of my comfort zone actually right now, and I think it's really important that I see other people and that I don't spend all my time in that sleep comfort zone. But I definitely do see myself avoiding random chaos. Like I can talk to others, that's fine, like if I was able to prepare for it, especially, then I can really talk, and that's all fine. But if it's about let's go somewhere random right now and do something with other people, it's like no, I need to know I need to know about that before, and I will not be spontaneous, not really spontaneous. And I really do feel like that I'm not participating as much as other people do. Absolutely. Yeah. I like to do things my own way. Yes.
I have a play last INTJ friend, and he's really weird about this. So,
Yeah.
like, if you can't even call him, you have to text him first, tell him you're gonna call him,
Oh
and
God.
then you have to schedule the time when you can call him. You know,
Oh.
like it's like what the hell, like
Yeah,
so,
that's weird. That's weird. No, I think I can kind of understand that, but I feel like with close friends and family, I'm totally flexible and really open for chaos actually, and I really like to spend time with them if they are in my FI, I think. Then I can really be spontaneous and flexible. Sometimes it varies, but like with random strange people, it's like leave me alone. I don't have time for that.
right. I want to cover the next part. Oh, before I cover the next part, you just said in a second ago that you don't have problems talking with people. I guess that's because you're still a double decider. That's why you're not like
Yeah,
a decider. Like you're still balanced with self and tribe, you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Like are you aware when you're being the jerk? You're like, okay, maybe I should do something for the tribe now, like just to balance things out. Like you're still aware?
Yeah, yeah, totally. I can really resonate with this whole thing about double deciders that they're able to sense the tension in a conversation and to then start joking and to kind of soften things up and all that. I can really like push things pretty far, but then I can like take things back and calm down again. And,
Yeah.
you know,
You mean like
that's
repair repair the damage after you push things too
yeah,
far? Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah. Um, so I want to ask you about the SF part of SF sleep. So, what's cool, what's popular.
Mm,
Do you have your own definition of what's cool and what's popular? Because it's sleep, it's personal. It's not like what the tribe cares about.
mm.
Also, like how you see yourself, in like a cool manner or something that you personally think is aesthetically pleasing. How do you see that yourself with that SF sleep, the SF part?
Um, yeah, I am really it's really important to me to wear clothes that I like and that I think are pretty and all that. And I think what's also really interesting is that I love to draw, and I love to draw characters that I like and things that I like, and I like them to dress the way I like, and it's all very, very, very personal. Everything I draw and all the images that I draw, I actually do share them now with others on social media, but that was so rough because it's so personal, and I was very afraid of people judging uh, um, what I of what I draw, and yeah, I think that might be a symptom of that because I was very afraid of people not liking what I do because I love it, and yeah, I'm trying to improve and all that, but I like the kind of, I don't know, like the people that I draw and how they look and all that. So I think that's kind of this SF thing, and that I came up with this in my mind and stuff like that, I think.
So the self-expression is something that
Yeah,
is kind of very personal. So you feel it's like a vulnerable area for you to share
yeah,
with the tribe.
totally.
Yeah.
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 I can get very emotional about it too. So if I actually do get criticized, if I put something out there out of that sleep zone, let's put it like that, then I tend to cry
Yeah.
pretty quick if that happens, and I'm very embarrassed about that, but I think it's just part of that.
Yeah. Well, I can relate with you because I have SF sleep also. So like everything
Oh,
is, yeah, I totally relate. It's weird because other types it's different, because for us, like, um, you know, the ST, that's not personal, right? Or like the NT, it's not
No.
personal. So we don't care.
Uh-huh.
People like care, you know, it's not a big
Yeah.
deal. It's like your idea is stupid. I'm like, well, whatever. You know, like
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah. That's true.
Uh,
That's
yeah.
true.
Like every animal is like correlated with something, right? Like SF is like what's
Mm,
cool, what's popular, kind of like self-expression.
mm,
Then ST is like competence, like how competent you are. You know,
mhm,
NT is like how smart you are, how good are you at figuring things out, you know.
mm,
And then NF is like, you know, like meaning of life, what's your purpose, you know, like
mm,
are you living life purposely? You know, is there a point to what you're doing, you know, like what is the big picture, you know? So
mm.
I think yeah, definitely like the sleep is always the tender point for most people. So for us, it's SF. But like, it's
Yeah.
funny because then you might go up to someone and be like, "Hey, you're an idiot," you know. But like, and to them, that could be the most offensive thing. For us, it might be like, "Yeah, I am an idiot. I don't care," you know. Like,
Yeah. 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 That's true.
yeah,
Like I'm so good at telling people that they're an idiot. I'm really good at that. That's
yeah,
true, actually.
yeah, yeah. Because it's play. You have NT play, right? So when you do use it,
Yeah.
like, yeah, you're idiot. You're all idiots. You know, you don't care. um,
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Totally.
we'll talk about that later on as when we get there. I want to cover the last part of SF sleep, and the last part is processing your emotions. But
Mm.
like because it's SI, it's almost like step by step. It's like, okay, this happened. How did I feel about that? This happened. How did I feel about that? And then you especially remember like the really vivid, strong emotions, and then really going back there and like repeating
Oh
it.
yeah.
You know, because it's sleep, right? So it's like going known information over and over again. So can you
Yeah.
talk about like what you personally do when you process your like emotion stuff, whether that be positive or negative, you know?
I think every time when I experience something new or try something new, I really need, or if I talked with someone or something, then I really need to remember everything that happened. And I need to think about every little thing that happened over and over again. And I need to absolutely figure out how I feel about that and why I feel about it that way. And I really need to process. I really notice how long it takes me to actually process something and so that it's not like new and special anymore. Like I really need to think about um, everything that happened to me over and over again until I really know why it made me feel this or that way. And it can get very, very, very complex. And like, for example, if I really tend to think in chapters, I think. And if I kind of close a chapter to start something new or whatever, I really need to, in that new chapter, I really need to reflect over the old one. And I can get very nostalgic and um, really need to remember everything that happened. And it's very special, everything that happened, and very precious, and the places that I've been to and all that. It's really, it's too much sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So because you're tester and visual, I want to ask you something in the visual side. When you're processing those feelings and experiences, can you vividly see them like again and again?
Yeah, totally, totally. I know everything, like every impression that I've gotten from the things that I saw is very it will be very vivid on my mind over and over again. And for example, also when I go back to a place, uh, which with I connect these all these feelings with, they will all come back again. Like it's very like places are very personal. I don't know, if I go to a special place, I sometimes I get dizzy because of all the feelings and memories that come back up, and it's so intense. It's crazy, actually.
You know, I did notice that. That's so interesting that you mentioned that places are very important because, like, I noticed
Yeah.
people with SI, especially SIFI, even if you're an IJ, like, places do matter. Like, the location is important, you know? So,
Totally. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why that is. That's weird. So that's something I maybe we have to like ask other people with the same like functions as us, you know, why that is important. But yeah, that's something I'm seeing now, like a pattern. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's also interesting you brought up the visuals things because I don't see anything like when I use yeah, because like
Really.
yeah,
Crazy.
because I'm audio kinesthetic, so I see nothing. Like, I cannot like you know, like as an audio kinesthetic, like my first sexual modality that I would use is obviously audio, followed by kinesthetic. And then third
Mm,
would be tester, right? But then I have no access to visual, which is my opposite, right? So for you, being double feminine, I guess the kinesthetic is gonna be the hardest part. Like, do you get freaked out when someone like throws like a ball at you, or like playing some sports or
Yeah,
whatever?
I don't think I could like jump over a fence like out of nowhere or something. I
Yeah,
wouldn't do that.
yeah.
No, not at all.
If someone were like throw a basketball at you to catch, are you okay? Or
I don't think so. I don't think so.
yeah, yeah. I guess unless you practice, right? But I guess it's
Yeah,
not it's
if
not
I know
natural.
that, if I know that it's gonna happen, that's something else. But like out of nowhere, no,
No,
it would hit
okay,
me.
yeah, you're done. Chaos right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so I want to switch now to talking about your consume. Your consume is third, it's
Mhm.
NF, and it's double masculine. So you have double masculine, NF consume. Um,
Yeah.
how do you personally experience that double masculine NF consume?
I think, I mean, what I really notice is that it's a demon. So it's really difficult for me to really pick something if I have to find new clothes or anything, or it's really hard for me to find something, and it has to be something very specific. And I really have something special on my mind, and if it doesn't fit that image, then I won't take it. Like it's pretty extreme sometimes, I think. Maybe in that way. That's how I notice it. But it's interesting. I wonder how consume would be if it would be double feminine.
Yeah.
Like what would be the difference?
Well, let me ask you the different parts, and maybe we can dissect it and see how you experience.
Okay.
Okay. The first part I want to ask you about is because it's consumed, it's external self-awareness. So sleep is internal self-awareness, while
Mm.
consume is external self-awareness. So it's like you become a
Mm.
ghost, and then you can watch yourself from third person perspective, you know. So
Oh,
so you can see how you come across to other people, for example, like you can see yourself like at real time, you know.
yeah.
So because it's also NF, I'm guessing the external image that you want to portray to others is NF, which is like, you're deep, you're meaningful, you have a lot of creativity,
Yeah.
you're not
Yeah.
you're not shallow, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
You care about like social causes and stuff. Like, do you relate to any of these things that I'm mentioning right now of like seeing yourself from a third person perspective and also the external image you want to present to the world?
Yeah, definitely. I can definitely see that. I think it would be horrible if people would think that I'm a shallow person, or if that I would be totally uncreative or something like that. That would really bother me actually. And I don't know if that's related to that, but I can be extremely self-aware sometimes. Like sometimes it's too extreme. Like I do something very normal and mundane, and then suddenly I switch into that outer perspective and just see myself from the outside, and then I get embarrassed pretty fast and all that. So it's yeah, maybe something like that.
So your type is very interesting because you're gonna be like hyper self-aware, which could be bad because then it would make you like really self-conscious. So you're double activated sleep, so you know what's going on inside, and then double masculine consume. So you can
Oh,
see yourself outside all the time, and if you do something cringy or
yeah.
something, then you know right away, and you're like self-conscious, right? So how do you feel about that personally?
That's totally true, actually. I can be, I think, so with my best friend, for example, we had some arguments in the past few weeks and all that, and we've known each other like for let me think, I think like 15 years or something. And I'm 23. So that relationship is very important to me. And we used to have a lot of arguments sometimes, and it was bothering me so much that that was happening. And I really tried to see what my part was, and so why we had these arguments and how I caused them and all that. And I think that's also why I kind of mistyped myself, because like people told me I'm very mean sometimes and that I can be very direct and all that. And I really don't want to be a bad friend and all that. And it's really important to me to be a good friend. So that's something I'm really hyper aware of, and I tend to judge myself too heavily, I think sometimes. I used to think before I got my results back that I'm not hard enough on myself, but I think it's kind of the opposite
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty extreme sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, I did notice that with the DIs is like how hard you guys are with yourself. Like my girlfriend is INTJ jumper.
Mm.
You know, she's sleep consumed, play blast, and she's always beating herself up. And I'm like, what the hell? What's wrong with you? Like for me, like
Yeah.
my relationship with myself, I see myself as like bros with myself, you know, like I'm sitting in the couch and you know, and if I do something
Oh.
stupid, I'll just be like, "Yo, Kendrick, what the hell, man? Why'd you do that?" I'm like, "Dude, sorry, man. Like, I messed up. You know, like it's so chill, right?" So like when I talk to my girlfriend and she's saying
Mm.
all these like mean things about herself, and I'm like, "Why? Why? Like, how does that help? You know?" But do you see yourself doing that personally? Do you see yourself like beating yourself up? You know, instead of like being nice to yourself?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, most of the time if I really tend um to look um at the parts where I messed up and then beat myself up for it. Like because so I do that so I will never do it again. Like I will just hate myself so much for it, then I'll never do it again. And because I'm really ashamed for myself if I do that. If I mean or if I mean and unnecessarily mean and something like that. So yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely see that.
Um, let's go over the other parts of consume. So you consume is NF. So do you like to consume like NF stuff, like more like imaginative content? Like I notice people with NF consume, they like fantasy, like if they watch movies, they like Lord of the Rings, that kind of stuff, you know, like more like medieval fake world, you know, like fantasy stories. Like I see anime in your background. I don't know if you if that's something.
Oh, yeah, Attack on Titan,
What's the
actually.
one of the what's the anime on there? Is that Naruto or is that something else?
That's Attack on Titan,
Okay, I don't know what that is. So okay.
and that's Assassin's Creed.
Oh, Assassin's Creed. Okay, I see. So you
Yeah.
do like you do like the fantasy stuff then.
I gotta say, I don't actually really like fantasy. That's kind
Yeah.
of weird. I don't. I
Okay.
What I really like is like in stories if like relationships between characters and in general like characters. That's something I really enjoy and their dynamics and all that. And that's very important to me and I love to consume that and to really feel that and like the development of a character and all that. Like characters, I'm all about characters. If the characters are good, then I actually don't really care about the rest.
I see. Okay. Well, that makes sense. So I guess
Yeah,
you like deep stories then. Like with
yeah,
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 deep, meaningful
totally.
stories. Okay. So you don't want
Yeah,
any like stupid stories. It has to be like deep and meaningful, you know, when
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Yeah. I can relate. I have NF consume, so that part I can
Mm.
relate. I do like the fantasy stuff, but maybe because I'm an ENFP. So you know,
Yeah, it's
um,
too. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm ISTJ. I don't like that. It's fantasy is just too far out there
yeah.
to me sometimes.
Yeah, no, that could be it. But I have seen ISTJs and ISFJs also like the far off fantasy. So
Yeah,
maybe depends on the person. Uh,
I do like sci-fi though,
there you go.
and dystopian and all that.
Okay, maybe there you go. That's the sci-fi,
Yeah,
your fantasy stuff. Um, all right. Let's go over your last animal now. This is the one that you will have the most trouble with.
yeah.
Um, it's NT play. So how do you personally experience that NT play? Like when does it come out? Because obviously you're still a human being and you need to interact with people, right? So when does it come?
Uh, uh, I think the way I treat play is just it's something that has to be done sometimes, and I really have to force myself into it. And I can also only just do it for a certain amount of time, and then I'm just drained, and I need to process and recharge and all that. And but it's nothing. It's really nothing that comes naturally to me. And yeah, I really it feels like putting on a mask sometimes, because I feel like I really need to fake that social person, that charismatic person and all that. And it's not like the struggle is often that it's not that I don't like people, and or that I don't like meeting people, or that I don't like talking to people and all that. It's just oftentimes just too much for me to handle in that very moment. And uh yeah, what I that's basically what I said in the beginning. That's why I thought I was a decider. Because yeah, I really struggled with people. I was judged for that a lot in my past by others. And I really used to be an outcast because of that. And I really had to practice play. That's what I feel like.
Yeah, and your play is different too. Your play's not SF, right? It's NT. So
Mm.
when you do like to use play, I guess it's the NT part, like figuring things out with people. It's like solving a problem or something, not like, hey, let's do something, share emotions or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. Um, yeah, I think that's also when I struggle the most. Like I like solving problems and figuring out how something works on my own. Like
Yeah.
yeah, I if it's with people, then I'm just quiet, I guess.
Oh, interesting. So you
Yeah,
have you haven't tapped into your NT play powers yet. So you don't know how you can be really good at it if you practice it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't think so. Never tried it, I guess.
Well, you're young, you're only 23, right? So I think when
Yeah.
you practice it, I think you'll be shocked how good like figuring things out with people could be. Uh
Yeah.
yeah, maybe once you start like do you work full time right now or are you still in school?
I'm in college right
I
now.
see. Okay. So yeah, maybe once you're done school and you're working full time, I think you'll see you're like, oh my God, I can do this. Um um anyways, what about the part of play where you talk to people back and forth? Do you have trouble with that? Where like, it's like a back and forth conversation? Because I noticed with some play last people, like when you talk to them, you'll say something to them and they don't say anything back. I'm like, aren't you gonna
Yeah.
say anything? But are you like, do you feel like you're like that or not so much? Like you can do it back and forth, except that your stamina for it is just very low. So you need to go home.
Yeah. Again, I feel like that's something I really had to learn. Uh, the funny thing is, um, I I suck at being funny on like spontaneously with other people and to be witty or something, because as you said, I I just won't pick you up. I just won't say anything back. So I used to struggle with that, and my way of solving that was to just learn typical phrases to use in these situations. So I was kind of prepared and could say the same stuff over and over again to different people, of course. So
Yeah.
the same person won't notice, to kind of cheat my way through that,
Yeah.
and to yeah, just a few sentences to kind of solve that, I think.
What is it? What's the sentences? I'm curious.
Oh, I don't know. um
Yeah, obviously it's in German, but like what's the
yeah,
translate?
that's
Yeah.
the thing. Let me think. I had something on my mind. um um it's like if someone makes a joke or something and you really don't think it's funny, or or you're maybe not that spontaneous to be also funny. It's just to what was that? Let me think. It was to kind of pick up on the joke anyways, something like that, to laugh about it anyways. That's not right. But to kind of pick the joke up and go along with it and some stuff like that. Like I didn't used to do that. I feel like that's actually pretty normal if I
Yeah.
say it out loud. But to me, that was like a huge discovery. And I was like, oh yeah, I can do that. And then it's not that awkward anymore if I just
Yeah.
go along with the joke.
Yeah. 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 So you just like giggle or something or like just laugh.
Yeah, or say something that's similar to the joke. I don't know how to describe it, but it worked in the past. It worked.
Okay. You got a technique going on there. Yeah. No, I just said you have a technique going on there. A
Cool
technique.
technique.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was
Don't
kind
worry
of
about it.
irritating.
Yeah, don't worry about it. There you go. There's your play last right there. Uh, it's like live.
What can I
Um,
say?
yeah. So because you're play last, you're also info dominant. So can you talk about being info dominant as opposed to energy dominant? Like obsessing with accuracy of information?
Yeah, I can like yeah, I think I can see that like in my grammar and all that, and I need to get my grammar right. That's maybe something. And what I heard about like being an infodom is that you are kind of balanced in conversations, that you can talk but also can listen. And that's actually something that I don't really struggle with. And I also heard that like the ideal conversation type for a person like me would be, because I'm lead sleeper as well, would be just that like everybody can talk and for like one time, and everybody gets to talk for like an equal time, and
Yeah.
and that's something that I would love like in a conversation, and that's actually very very true. And um yeah, I really do obsess over correct information, and yeah, I won't let it slide.
Oh my God, you're doing the play last thing. It's like I when I interview people who are like play last sometimes, it's just like
Yeah.
taking turns blasting at each other. I'm like, oh my God, can we like
Yeah, yeah,
can we
yeah.
actually talk normally? Instead of like taking turns teaching each other,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's all good, it's fine. Um, I do think like the more I study this, like there's a time and place for being info dominant, energy dominant. I feel like if you're in a social setting, it's better to be energy dominant because then you can just goof off, be funny, not be so serious. Um,
Yeah.
like info doms tend to be more serious because like they want the information,
Mm,
instead of the exchange of energy. Um, like even like people like me who are like lead plays or people I interviewed who are like lead plays, but they're info dom, they'll do a little bit of play just to like make the tribe happy. It's like, you want to play? Okay, here's a little bit, and then once they're done, and then I want to go back to the information again. So it's kind of
I
interesting.
guess, yeah, I guess the play less just won't do that. It's like
Yeah, yeah,
it's just like no bullshit. I just want to get to the point and I want to work and I don't want to joke around with you,
yeah,
and leave me alone.
yeah,
That's really
exactly.
true.
Yeah, 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 there you go. That's the because like the playlist won't do that, right? Because like for me, like
No.
like lead play, right? Like I can see if the tribe wants to joke around or they want information. I want information because I'm infodom, right? But I'm like, okay, fine. I'll give them a little bit of something just to shut them up. It's like, okay, are you happy? Okay, now we can get. So yeah, but I guess with you guys, you're just like, nope, nope,
No.
nope,
No.
not gonna play with you guys. We can
No.
talk. I'm not gonna play. You know, um, okay, let's talk about you being a tester. So tester is like smell and like taste. And you have SI, so you're gonna have like favorite scents and favorite tastes. Can you talk about like like some of your favorite like smells, like favorite food, I guess, that kind of stuff.
Okay, so what I recently figured out is that I love honey.
Yeah.
And then in my hometown there was this market and this whole stand which was just for honey, and there were different sorts of honey, and I you were allowed to taste every honey that was there, and I went there and tasted everything that I could, and I really needed to take all of that in, and I really enjoyed that actually. So that would be maybe an example.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's a really good example.
And yeah.
Um, so that's the taste. What about smell? Do you like perfumes or like or candles or any of that stuff,
Yeah, I like smelling like different of these candles that smell. I don't know what's the right word for these candles. How do you
like
like
scented
scented candles?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really, you can see me, I think, in a store or something. You could really see me like testing out every single candle and comparing them, and uh yeah, I can obsess about trying everything. and knowing like every sort of candle, every sort of honey, and comparing them, which is the best and all that.
Yeah, I did notice that double feminists love their candles. They love their scented
Yeah.
candles. You guys are obsessed. Yeah, you guys are obsessed
Yes,
with
I
that stuff.
do. I do.
Yeah. All right, Ella. So I have a few more questions for you, and we'll wrap up the interview. Okay. So the next one I have is in regards to you being an IJ. So you are an IJ with NE at the bottom. That means you're scared of chaos, and the chaos is
Yeah.
coming from the NE. Uh, so can you talk about your fear of chaos that's coming from the NE?
I think like when I had to move out of my hometown to college, to the city where my current college is in, that's I think where that whole fear really came out, because I was so afraid of leaving my comfort zone and of everything that's known to me, and I had so much anxiety. And in hindsight, that was so stupid, because now I know there's nothing new really and nothing that I need to be afraid of. But it's like this um, fear of the worst case scenario, and that was very real back then. Yeah.
Your NE is also masculine, so you can see it, even though it's fourth.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
feel like you can see it? Even though it's fourth?
Yeah, I think I really tend to like make up all these fake sceneries and play it out like visually on my mind, what's gonna happen, what's gonna go wrong. And like yeah, I can, like, if I'm going somewhere, or if I'm like back then when I was about to move out of town, I could really already see the city in which I'm going to go crazy and all that, and where everything is gonna go wrong. And I really had this image on my mind of like the place that I'm going to be at, and stuff like that. So yeah, totally.
So because your NE is masculine, do you feel like you're very sure that this thing is gonna happen, like this bad thing is gonna happen? Like you feel like it's so strongly that
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Um, like my friends or my family, they told me oftentimes, like if I'm in my whole anxiety space and worst case scenario and everything's gonna go bad, they would stand in front of me and tell me, You don't know that, and how do you want to know, or how would you know that it's gonna go that bad and all that?" And it's like, yeah, I just know it. I just know that it's going to be absolutely horrible and all
Yeah.
that. Listen to me and stuff like that. So it's extreme. It tends to be very extreme.
And then because your NE is a demon, is everything that you see, like the possibilities, are they all negative? Like it's all negative possibilities that's gonna happen in the future? Is that what you see personally?
um, yeah, it's let me think. If something, if I'm planning to try something new or something, like in the first, if I just think about the first second, I'm like, oh yeah, that's gonna be great, and let's try that, and that's fine, and all that. And like, but a second after that, I'll see all the bad ways in which it might turn out, and it's always the same. It's always this process.
That's so interesting because people that have any demon are kind of
Mm,
like the way you describe, like more negative than positive possibilities. But like if you have any as a savior, it's more positive than negative.
yeah.
Like look, this is good, this is good, this is good. Oh my god, there's so many good options. I don't know what to pick. But I guess for if you have in the bottom, it's like, oh my god, this is bad, this is bad, this is
And
bad.
endless possibilities of negativity.
Yeah,
It's,
exactly. Like how do you live? What the hell?
yeah, yeah. That's a good question.
Yeah. You do have it as a demon though, so do you think about it a lot, or is that something? Because like your two saviors uses SI, right? So do you think about like the any stuff on a regular basis, or do you kind of like avoid it? I mean, it's masculine, so you can't avoid it. I think. I mean, that's what I think you can't. But how do you personally feel about it?
I think I actually avoid it a lot if I don't have to deal with this anxiety and all the negative possibilities, I really don't think about it. But if something is about to change or something new is about to come up, then it's gonna come out and it's gonna go crazy and all that. But I think the masculine NE might come out if I, for example, need to decorate my home or something. That's I think when it really comes out, because I will have an exact image of how it has to look and all that already on my mind.
Yeah.
Maybe that it comes out.
So I want to ask you about NE being your triggering function. Okay, so David Chan has been covering this lately, which I really appreciate. I think this is a very big one. So
Yeah.
your fourth function, so it's weird because there's people who are like glass lizards where they're double activated on their fourth function.
Yeah.
So when they use their fourth animal, which is their first two function, they don't get triggered by it. Like it's hard, it's challenging, but they don't feel triggered because it's not using their triggering function, right? Like they're almost like more in a stressful state on a regular basis because they're using their triggering function all the time because it's double activated, right? So your triggering function is NE. How do you feel when like that you're getting triggered by that NE? Like what does it feel like? You know, like, and how does it feel in your body when you're getting triggered, you know, with that NE, you know?
I think it's like this panic, or the sudden panic. If I can see, okay, something's gonna happen different than I expected it, then at the first moment it's fine, and then suddenly there's extreme panic breaks out, and I'm totally out of control and frightened, and that it might go wrong, that it could go wrong. Basically, that's the thing. Just the possibility of something going wrong suddenly comes into my mind, and then panic. And it's really like, okay, calm down, breathe. Nothing's gonna happen. It's gonna be fine.
I see.
Yeah.
So panic. Okay. I feel the same way as you, except it's like with paperworks. You know, I got to fill out a form, like a thick form.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's
No.
when the panic kicks in. I'm like, oh my god, look how big this is, you know? Like,
Oh god.
yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. So I guess the feeling is similar for people that have the same function stack as us, except it's different what causes it. So that's interesting. I guess for the ESTJ, it's like, oh, you're telling me how I feel. Oh, panic, you know, like
Oh yeah.
yeah, but like for people like you're like, oh, okay, sure, yeah, I tell you how I feel, sure, okay, you know.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Um, so speaking of feelings, I have last two questions for you, Ella. So my first question before we wrap this up is, going back to SF sleep, when you're processing your feelings, do you go deep enough to pinpoint the exact word for what you're feeling? And then once you, because you know it's sleep, right? So you're trying to conclude something. So do you try to find the exact word to, because it's FI with SI, so SI is like they have exact word. You know, with like the ENTPs and those guys, they get like really strange when it comes to their identity, you know, like but for us it's a little bit different. So do you like to find the exact word for how you feel, and then after you find the exact word, do you try to do something about it to like make sure that you're addressing your emotional needs and stuff, you know? So for example, like if you're feeling mad all the time, it's like, oh, okay, I'm feeling this all the time, okay, maybe I should do something about it. Is that what you're doing personally when you're processing your feelings?
If I'm mad about something, then yeah, it really bothers me, and I really need to find out why am I feeling this way, and I need to find the exact reason. That's pretty much it. I really struggle with finding words for my feelings, actually, and I also kind of don't like finding words for my feelings because I feel like it takes away the meaning.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes that's weird. But it's really like if something's making me mad, like if I'm hurt or something, if I feel embarrassed or something, I can't let that slide or anything. I need to focus on that feeling, and I can't let it go. And I really need to know, okay, why am I feeling this way, and to what are these feelings connected, and that's what's happening. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. That's very interesting. I think the word that you when you said you don't want the exact word, I think you're feminine SI. So
Yeah,
you don't need the
yeah,
exact word.
yeah.
And then the other thing that you said was if you're feeling something, you need to find it out right away. So you need to go to sleep right away. That's interesting you said that because like for me with like lead play, sleep last,
Mm,
I do want to find out why I felt the way I felt, like if it's bad, but I can
mm.
like pause and like I'll do it later. Like I'll do it when I
No.
get home or I'll find a quiet moment. But right now I need to work like TE, right? So I need to do the work first. And then later
Yeah,
on I'm gonna go like understand my feelings, you know. So it's so I can see now
yeah,
the big difference with FI being above the TE, you know. Like I need to find it
yeah,
now. The
yeah,
FI is now, but with TE is like, no, the work has to be done now, you know. Like finish the work first and then you can do FI
yeah.
after. Um it's almost like good and bad, I feel like, because like,
Mm,
you know, it's like yeah, you're for example, you're working, right? Like, yeah, you do need to finish the work first. Like, you know, like this
yeah,
inappropriate for you to be like trying to process your feelings right now, right? But at the same time, if you think about it, like okay, like if you're at home, for example, or you're fighting with like a friend or a family member,
mm,
then the TE should not be important at that point because the relationship needs feelings, right? So that the
yeah,
feeling comes first. So I guess it depends on the context of
yeah.
the situation.
But I actually already worked a full-time job, and I definitely noticed when something happened that really stressed me out and really caused a lot of intense feelings. I really try to process them while working, and like I used to deliver mail, so that was a very, very like isolated job. So I had a lot of time to process while working.
Yeah.
But I really could could see myself like if I have to process feelings, if they come up very intensely, then I need to take my space right now. I need to go in my room, or I need to disappear in some way to process that for a minute and to breathe and to think about it and to let it go, because otherwise it will just become worse and worse, and then I will start to cry and it just won't disappear. Like just I can't just ignore my feelings. It's really intense. Yeah. I could never like say, no, I need to work now. I need to process that later. No, I need to process this right now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you find that it's easier for you to process your feelings when you're organizing something? Because it's SI, right? Like let's say
Oh
you're
yeah.
like you're cleaning at home and stuff. Do you feel like that's like the perfect time to think about your feelings?
It's like I need to do that to feel better actually. Like if I feel bad, now I need to clean something or something like
Yeah.
that. That's something that happens, yeah. Yeah, then I need to remove the chaos to feel better.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Do you enjoy cleaning and stuff?
Yeah, I do. I love maintaining things and keeping my home clean, and it
Yeah.
makes me really happy if everything is nice and clean.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, I hate cleaning because
Yeah.
I'm SI at the bottom. Yeah, I do it, but I hate it. So, but it's like, but you know what's even worse is that people with SE, oh my God, they just make so much mess. You know,
Oh God.
I still have SI, right? Like I talked to other ENFPs about this with masculine SI, and
Mm.
then they're like, yeah, no, they also can't stand like the messy like surroundings, you know, because it's still SI,
Oh,
right? You still have the SI,
yeah.
you know, so it's like
Yeah.
with the when the SE friends come over and mess things up, you're like, what the fuck, you know, like, you know, like what are you doing, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I have to be honest, it's not like I always clean and I love cleaning, and sometimes I'm really lazy and I really don't want to do it, but in the end I just feel responsible for it and I need to do it, and I can't just not do it. Like that would make me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the dynamic.
Well, that makes sense, you know, feeling responsible for it since you're an IJ and all, you know, like you.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Ella, before we wrap the interview, do you have any final questions for me before we wrap this up?
Um, Let me think. No, I don't think I have any questions.
All right. So thanks for coming out and doing this interview, especially your play last. So I think, you know, it took more
Yeah.
effort from
No
your
problem.
parts. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So yeah, take care. I know it's like 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. probably now in
Yeah.
Germany. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So see you around and take care.
Yeah, take care. Thank you.